Everyone thought the biggest problem was Lewis Hamilton's spins. Wrong. The real problem wasn't the car sliding, it was the answer he got afterward. Or rather, the lack of one. You see, when a 7-time world champion asks for a plan and is met with silence, that's not a technical glitch. That's a warning light flashing at Ferrari. This wasn't just about grip, balance, or lap times. This was about something far bigger, a driver demanding control from a team still stuck in hesitation. The cracks showed themselves after FP2 in Zandvoort. 2 spins, a destroyed set of rears, and one very sharp statement. Ferrari still doesn't know how to give Hamilton a car worthy of him. And Lewis? He's out of patience. FP1 was chaos, 14th and 15th on the sheet, the car was erratic, skittish on entry, snapping under throttle. But FP2 teased potential, Hamilton muscled it to 6th. He was wringing the neck of a car that doesn't want to be wrung. Before that second spin, he was already a 10th up in Sector 2, carrying 150 into the final corner. And then, snap. Not driver error, not overexcitement, but a machine that simply doesn't trust its pilot. The real problem isn't performance, it's philosophy. And Hamilton made that very clear after the session. Comfort? He doesn't care. Control? That's everything. But instead of answers, he got hedging. Instead of direction, he got hesitation. That wasn't feedback, it was surrender. The debrief that followed wasn't a technical review, it was a power struggle. Hamilton locked eyes with Riccardo Adami, his engineer, and cut through the data with a single number, 0.8. Where are they hiding? He didn't come to Maranello for promises about one day, he came to win today. Telemetry backed him up. That lap before the spin was alive. A 10th gained in Sector 2, another in the final corner. Momentum building. Then it broke, not because of Hamilton, but because the SF25 is still designed for another driver's style. Ferrari's setups have leaned towards safety. Predictable, conservative, steady. Hamilton's craft is razor-sharp, instinctive, surgical. The two can't coexist in the same package. When Adami hesitated on whether to switch directions, Hamilton didn't sugarcoat it. If you make this car comfortable, you make it slow. That wasn't input, it was a line in the sand. Adami didn't argue. He started rewriting Saturday's plan. Zandvoort laid bare Ferrari's biggest weakness. Not just the car's flaws, but the team's fear of risk. Hamilton's spins weren't laps thrown away. They were shots fired at the limits. The SF25 wasn't created for brilliance, it was engineered for safety. A soft rear, a hesitant front, a setup that flatters average but strangles genius. Sainz fits it, Hamilton fights it. That Friday night, Lewis dropped the bombshell. Unlink my setup from his. Not a request, a command. He demanded a revised ride height model, a tighter rear diff, and different energy recovery mapping. The garage froze. Because if Ferrari agreed, they'd be admitting the car they built was never really his. But Hamilton didn't blink. This isn't about balance, it's about belief. And with that, the whole garage shook. 2 Ferraris, 1 roof, but suddenly, only one carried the weight of being the real Ferrari. By Saturday, the split was obvious. Hamilton's SF25 rolled out with a completely different identity. Low rake, sharper turn-in, aggressive throttle mapping. This wasn't just setup fine-tuning, it was a personality transplant. And Lewis made sure everyone understood the stakes. If I crash, that's on me. If I compromise, that's on all of you. From that moment, the team stopped filtering him. Adami matched Hamilton's rhythm. Instant delta updates, brake bias changes in real time, no delays, no politics. Meanwhile, team principal Fred Vassar walked past the 2 cars without a word. Because if he said anything, he'd have to admit reality. Ferrari was no longer built around one philosophy. And the numbers confirmed it. By FP3, Hamilton's pace through high-speed corners rivaled Norris. His throttle came earlier, his correction rate dropped by nearly a third. Same chassis, but not the same machine. Hamilton had redrawn it from the inside out, and the architect wasn't in Maranello's design office, it was sitting in the cockpit. A 7-time world champion done waiting for permission. In the sim room, Adami no longer asked for clearance. The balance of power had shifted, and suddenly, Ferrari wasn't just carrying Hamilton. Hamilton was carrying Ferrari. For the first time in 2025, Hamilton's words didn't just bounce around the garage, they triggered immediate action. The balance inside Ferrari's setup room shifted overnight. On Charles Leclerc's side, everything still moved with routine precision. On Hamilton's side, it moved to rhythm, his rhythm. Because when Lewis straps into a car that bends to his instincts, the effect isn't limited to lap time, it's control. And control spreads fast. Suddenly, the younger engineers were pulling Hamilton's traces first. Adjustments once copied from Charles to Lewis now flowed in reverse. That's the mark of a silent takeover. No fireworks, no headlines, just cold numbers showing who the team trusts to drag them forward. Ferrari never intended to pick sides, but the stopwatch forced their hand. By the time FP3 wrapped, whispers had hardened into conviction. Leclerc remained steady, but stagnant. Hamilton was volatile, yet climbing. And inside Maranello's travelling army, the staff began to split. Some clinging to the old ways, others muttering openly, "If Lewis makes this car work, we back him." This was no longer about one driver's pace. It was about the team's future direction. Riccardo Adami, long guarded and diplomatic, finally dropped the mask. His radio calls grew sharper, more specific. Gone was the vague encouragement. What Hamilton received now was clarity, real-time corrections, tactical precision. It wasn't an engineer talking to a driver anymore, it was a co-pilot navigating a mission. When Hamilton rolled back into the garage after the last run, he didn't ask for lap comparisons. He didn't beg for reassurance, he just said, "We're close now, let's finish it." No theatrics. No self-congratulation, just a sense of certainty Ferrari hasn't heard in years. Pole position? That's just the headline. The deeper battle is about who holds the wheel of Ferrari's future. And walking into qualifying, everyone in that garage already knew. If Hamilton nails this, Ferrari cannot retreat to the old setup. They cannot write off his criticism of the rear end, the balance, the muted communication. They'll have to admit he was right, not just about Zandvoort, but about Monaco, about every weekend where silence stole time. This is no outburst. This is a revolution, one that started in telemetry printouts, swelled through defiance, and now echoes in every apex Hamilton takes without a single correction. Ferrari has spent the last decade engineering layers of safety, layers of order, to shield itself from chaos. Hamilton has turned that chaos into his greatest weapon, and as the SF25 howls back out of the garage, there's no disguising it anymore. Yes, two cars wear the scarlet paint, but only one carries the momentum. The split in philosophy is permanent now, the data undeniable. Lewis Hamilton isn't lobbying to lead Ferrari. He already does. Qualifying hasn't even set the grid, but the strategy hub is in full wartime mode. Hamilton left the simulator with no smile, no words, just a quick glance at Adami and the unspoken question, "Do they see it yet?" Adami said nothing. He didn't need to. The garage told the story. Two teams under one roof, one group crunching overlays, brake migration plots, tyre delta forecasts, focused, relentless, believing in the hunt. The other group already rehearsing the press lines in case Hamilton's gamble collapses. Above them, Fred Vasseur watched in silence, expressionless. Because acknowledging what he saw would mean admitting the tide had turned. Zandvoort was only the spark. Monza, the cathedral of Ferrari pride, will be the explosion. Inside the camp, nobody's talking pole positions anymore. They're whispering about fallout, because if Hamilton delivers on Italian soil, with his setup, with his doctrine, the tremor will be felt far beyond the paddock. It will thunder into Maranello's boardrooms. It will corner Ferrari into the question they've dodged all season. Who is this car really built for? Monza is sacred. A weekend drenched in national pride, a stage where Ferrari usually masks its fractures. But not this year. Not with Hamilton forcing a new philosophy. Not with Leclerc watching influence slip away, one sector at a time. In Zandvoort, Hamilton demanded change. In Monza, he may force Ferrari to choose, because if he wins this political duel and drags himself back into the title fight, the mirage of equal treatment won't just crack, it will collapse completely. And the car, so carefully guarded as the team's Ferrari, will finally reveal what it's becoming. Hamilton's Ferrari.